There we go, muting everybody. Okay. So as you come to your comfortable seat, we'll start sitting for a moment, but then we're going to pretty quickly come up to stand and practice that idea of finding our good solid foundation while we're standing. But for now, find your good solid foundation while you're sitting. So we do this every time. You find that height for your hips, and then you move your sitting bones so that you can feel them, right? So that's a really important aspect of grounding, is being able to feel the connection you have with what's underneath you. And so now add a little bit more with your fingers, pressing down into the floor, or if you're sitting on something, press them into whatever you're sitting on and lift up through your sides. Shoulder blades are on your back. Let your eyes close and take a couple moments here to notice how your feet feel, your legs, your sitting bones, whatever happened to be touching. And now think of pressing a little bit more through everything that's touching the ground. Notice what it takes, what muscles it takes to engage, to press. And from that press, lift up a little taller. Take a full big breath and let your breath help you. Your inhales help you to lengthen, and your exhales help you to root more. So see if you can pulse with that. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to press. One more breath this way. And now connect palms together at heart center and take a deep inhale again to grow longer. This time, exhale, bow towards your heart, connecting forehead and fingertips. Then softly opening your eyes, release your hands down. And now we're going to come right up to standing. So come on up to the front of your mat. And if you're like, oh, I really like a downward dog to get there, then feel free to do that, or just stand up. So as you come to stand, take a moment to just move a little bit back and forth from foot to foot. And then come to balancing evenly on both feet. Lift and spread your toes, and then root them down. And then shift a little forward and back, keeping your feet planted, but just notice the weight rocking from front to back. And then find that even balance between the front and the back, and then start to rock a little side to side. And again, your feet stay planted the whole time, but you're just feeling how the weight shifts and how you can shift the weight, right? So you can make that more even or less even for yourself. Okay, so now as you come to evenly balanced on the four corners of your feet, turn your palms open and reach through your fingertips toward the ground. Shoulders are lifting up and back. And as you lengthen the back of your neck and even let your head move to the back plane of your body, think of keeping your gaze just a little downward. Take a full big breath, and we're going to pulse a couple times now. Bend your knees a little, squeeze your glutes, and then root into the ground to stand taller. And now bend your knees, squeeze your glutes, and root. One more time this way. Bend your knees, squeeze your glutes, and push. And now hands come to your heart. And as you gently press palms together and let elbows lift a little, draw shoulder blades onto your back. And now same thing again. Bend your knees, squeeze your glutes, push, lift your chest. Now as you exhale, hands are at your heart as you hinge at the hips. Bend your knees and fold. Now release fingertips down toward the ground or maybe your blocks. It's still grounding, even if you have brought the floor up a little ways with blocks or a prop. Inhale and lengthen, and as you lengthen, lifting up part way, think of pushing your feet into the ground. Exhale and fold. Now push feet into the ground, think of squeezing glutes, hands are up at your hips. Lift shoulders, lift elbows, and rise as you push. Good. Now, palms turn, reach through fingertips. Again, bend your knees, squeeze your glutes, and push into the floor, lift your chest. Gaze is a little bit down, hands to your heart. As you exhale, hips back, heart forward, and fold. From this place, again, hands can be at a prop or at the floor, but root, push. Push with your feet. Inhale, lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Hands to hips, push through your toes and your heels, lift elbows, lift shoulders, and rise. Good. Okay, one more time this way. Turn your palms, reach, lift shoulders. Gaze is a little bit down, not your head, just your gaze. Bend knees, root through your feet from your glutes. Bring your hands to your heart. Push hips back, heart forward, and fold. Inhale, lengthen part way, and exhale, fold. Planting fingertips, you're stepping right foot back into your lunge. Pause here, center with your hips, and then push with both feet so much that your hips elevate a little bit. Take a big, deep breath. Now push with your back toes and step forward. And exhale, step your left foot back into your lunge. Center with your hips, long spine. As you push with both sets of toes and your front heel, feel your hips elevate a little bit. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, right foot steps back into your lunge. Now turn and plant your back heel so your foot's parallel to the back of your mat. Inhale, rise up to your warrior two. Take a big deep breath as you settle into your front knee. Pause and notice toes and heels pressing down. As you bend deeper into your front knee, front arm lifts toward the ceiling. Reach your fingertips, but then bring your gaze slightly down. Lengthen the back of your neck. Lift your ribs, your chest, your heart. On your exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. Tuck your back toes, push with your toes, and step forward. And now stepping left foot back into your lunge, turn and plant your back heel. Push with both feet to bring your torso upright, coming to your warrior two. Extending long, take a full big breath and notice that push. Push toes and heels. Maybe you'll feel that all the way up into your glutes. Heels and glutes have a good strong connection when we find that. And then bend deeper into your front knee. And now reach, top arm up, top arm, front arm up, lift through your ribs. But as you do so, lengthen the back of your neck and bring your gaze a little down. This is one of those actions that helps us root even as we're reaching up into that air ether quality. Take a big breath. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat, tuck your back toes and step forward. Root down through the four corners of your feet, press them, inhale, lift up part way, and exhale, fold. Hands to hips, press back on hips, lift shoulders, lift elbows, and rise. As you come up to stand, we're gonna find our balance. And if you know that you have a tricky time with balancing today, and this changes sometimes by the day, then feel free to go to a wall or a chair or something to work with. But find your balance onto your left foot and pause for a moment and find toes pressing and heel pressing. It helps if you bend your knee and squeeze your glute to find that press. And now lift your right knee up and to your hands. And as you lift your right knee up, now you've taken one of your balancing points away. So notice for yourself where your foot might start to wobble on your balancing leg. And see if you can create just a little more even press. I know for me, that tends to be my big toe mound that likes to pop up. So I'm going to try to create a little more press down. Press through the heel as well. Maybe feel your glute firing up there. Take a hold of your knee with your right hand. Left hand can come to your hip if you'd like, and then open it up. As you open it up, again, notice where your foundation shifts and try to create a little more even press. Bend your knee, squeeze your glute, and press. Lift your chest. Good. Inhale, come back into center. And exhale, release your foot down. Good job. So now, right foot. As you start to balance, before you lift your leg, bend your knee, squeeze your glute, find the even press, and then lift your knee. Yeah. And you might find one foot is easier than the other to find that even balance. But notice from right here, where it is your foot starts to wobble. And see if you can press down more through that big toe mound, through your heel. Bend your knee, squeeze your glute, push, and then open up with your knee. As you do that again, notice the shift. Gaze is at the ground here, even as your chest is lifting. But notice the connection that you have with the four corners of your right foot. Good, inhale back into center and exhale, foot back to the ground. And now find feet even and inner hip distance apart. Lift and spread your toes and push. Turn your palms, open it up, reach. Lift your chest. Good. Take a moment with eyes closed. Sometimes that affects your balance too. To notice, bring your awareness down to your feet. Four corners of your feet, evenly pressing. Full, deep, long inhale. Long, full exhale. Good. Hands come up to your heart. And you can softly open your eyes. Take an inhale, lift your chest. Exhale into the hips and fold. Inhale, lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Plant fingertips. Right foot steps back into your lunge. Turn and plant your back heel. And inhale, rise up to your warrior two. And we're going to come to this place again. And as we settle into our front knee and open it up, again, notice the full press of your feet, toes and heel, down into the ground on both feet. Reach your arms, take a full breath. Good. Now, take back hand to your hip, front arm reaches up, and as you lengthen up and settle deeper into your front knee, take a full breath and notice. You're welcome to close your eyes here to feel your feet, or keep your eyes open and gaze at the ground. But inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, settle just a little deeper. Inhale, back to your warrior two, and exhale, elbow to your front knee. Top arm reaches up and over your ear, taking that long side body stretch. But notice your feet. Push them down, open that front knee up, and then turn more open. Expand and open through your torso. Take a full, big, deep breath into your top ribs. And now both hands come down to the ground, tuck your back toes and step back this time, downward facing dog pose. Take a full breath. As you keep your gaze at the ground, root through your hands, root through your feet, and grow longer through your spine. Inhale, come forward into your plank. Knees at the ground here if that's more comfortable for you. Stay rotated forward with your elbow pits and pushing. Keep pushing with your hands, pushing with your toes or your knees, even as you bend your elbows and lower down, all the way to your belly. And from your belly, take a moment to set the tops of your feet. And then set your knees and then engage through the low belly and the ribs. Now take a big breath here and feel the expansion into the ground. On your next inhale, as your belly expands into the ground, lift up into as high a cobra as your body is ready for. Full big deep breath. Then tuck toes, push through hands and feet to lift your hips, downward facing dog pose. Take a deep breath. And now walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold over your legs. And then fingertips plant, step your left foot back into your lunge. Turn and plant your back heel and rise to your warrior two for that second side of this series. As you settle in to your front knee, feel your feet. Feel the knee opening. Feel the rooting from your hips down into the ground. Keep that from hips down, opening up and bending into your knee. And then take that reverse. Reach up with your front arm, backhand to your hip or thigh. Take a big breath and bring your gaze down. As you bring your gaze down, still lift your heart up. Then inhale, rise back to your warrior two. Exhale, elbow to your front knee, top arm reaches. And it can be straight up, it can be over your ear, but really bring your awareness to your feet and push. Then bend deeper into your front knee and open it up. From that, keep the awareness of that push into the ground even as you turn open. Full big deep breath. Breathe into your top ribs. And on your exhale, both hands come down to the front of your mat. Tuck your back toes and step back. Downward facing dog pose. Big, full, deep breath. And lower knees down. Take hips to heels. Take your child's pose. Take a couple full breaths to move and shift through your hips. Move and shift through your arms. And then let yourself settle. Let your hips get heavy. Let your head get heavy. Full breath. And then gently push yourself up to your seat. And then come all the way down to sitting bones. And from sitting bones, feet together in your butterfly, your bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. And as you find that for yourself, if you want to use a blanket over your feet and underneath your legs, you can, a little support, or blocks underneath your knees. Find where it is that from hips down, you can be most comfortable and supported. And then from that support, and that could even mean a blanket underneath your hips. From that support, root down with what's touching the ground or touching your props and lift your heart. And again, you can always hold on at the floor behind you, at your shins, at your big toes, whatever feels the best. And as you take that big lift of your heart, inch your feet a little closer together so you can feel the four corners of them. And then reach out through your knees, through your thighs, toward the walls on either side of you, and lift your heart. Take another big breath. Your gaze is at the ground here if that's comfortable. And now, if it feels good, you can start to take this fold, hinging at the hips. If you find that you're doing more round at the upper back or round at the low back, then come more upright and stay more upright so that the hinge can happen right at the hip crease, okay? So as you find that place for yourself, think of it not needing to be the deepest place you've ever gone, but instead where you have the most integrity, through your spine, really being conscious of anything that's showing up in your body. Again, if you'd like to, you can close your eyes here for a couple of breaths, noticing from hips down that engagement and that connection. And then inhale, gently rise all the way back up. And then bring knees up together. If you're sitting on anything, you can always take it away. And we're gonna come all the way down to lay on our backs. And from your back, just make sure props are handy, but draw knees in toward your chest. And as you compress your knees, your thighs in toward your sides, you can have wide or narrow knees, whichever feels the best to you. And then just a little gentle rock to enable a little lengthening through the low back. And then set both feet down on the ground. Press elbows down into the ground and inch your shoulder blades a little closer together. And now we're going to do just a little movement with breath, rooting into the ground, using that rooting to help us lift up. So as you press down with elbows and press down with feet, start to lift your hips up into your bridge pose. Again, it doesn't have to be the deepest place you've ever gone, but hug these slightly in and reach toward the wall in front of you with your knees. From this place, take a big deep inhale, long exhale, and root more to lift your hips higher. Next exhale, slowly with control, lower your hips back down. Pause and notice how your body feels. You can always drop your knees in together to touch, rest your hands, or you can take some windshield wipers or knees into your chest here. Take a big breath wherever that is. Be aware of your body against the ground. And now, feet are hip distance apart again. Thighs and knees are inner hip distance. Press your elbows down, press your feet down, and inhale, lift your hips. Same thing, reaching out through your thighs. Think of hugging it a little bit like you're holding onto a block. Inch your shoulder blades a little bit toward each other, and as you exhale, root more to lift up higher. Next exhale, lowering all the way back down with your hips. And now pick a different way. Whatever thing you did after your bridge pose last time, do something else. So again, you have knees into your chest and rocking, you have windshield wipers, you have being still with your knees dropping in together to touch. So find another way. And now we're gonna roll over to our sides and sit back up, and then find whatever you're using for your prop. Bolster, pillow, and we're gonna set it underneath our spines. And then find your blanket and roll it up. And then set it over the tops of your feet with your feet in butterfly and wrap the edges underneath your legs. So we have that supported ankle place here. And then we're going to go ahead and lay over our bolster. And so allowing for this hip action to happen of opening up and allowing our heart to be open here. If it's comfortable, close your eyes and notice what's against the ground. If you find that this bothers the low back at all, then you can feel free to move the bolster back a little ways or even take it out entirely if it doesn't feel good. But notice your hips, your legs, your back body, maybe the backs of your arms, as they rest against whatever it is they're on. Notice that support and connection. As you take a few more breaths here, remember that you're never stuck in one place. So again, if it starts to bother you in any way, then feel free to shift. And now gently draw your legs up together and roll over to your side. One last time, I promise. And now this time, we're gonna create a little lift for our legs. So blocks, or if you have a chair you wanna use, you can put your legs up the chair. I'm gonna take my bolster over my blocks to create a little lift. And then bringing your legs to rest up, whatever it is you're using. Find your blanket and set it over your hips. Set it over your belly. And then as you let yourself start to settle in, letting yourself start to rest. You can again notice the contact that you have with the ground. Notice the support that your back body has. And give yourself full permission to release and let go in this variation of Shavasana, with the complete understanding that you always are invited to shift if it becomes uncomfortable. Begin to take a deeper breath. And gently move through fingers and through toes. As you're ready to bend your knees and roll to your side, and then push into the ground to bring yourself back upright. Coming back to your seat in as gentle a way as possible. And bringing hands to connect at heart center. Eyes closed if that's comfortable. Take a couple full breaths and let yourself feel the connection you have with the ground. And that connection that you have with what's going on inside. Have a very peaceful, very beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Thanks, you guys.